the foothills of the beautiful Rocky Mountains here in Longmont, Colorado to visit Kate Johnson. She took her love of dairy goats and turned that into a cheese-making school. Hello,
Hi,
nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you too. Thank
Wonderful.
you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having us here.
Yeah.
Looks like you've got goats all over the place here.
We do. We have a lot of goats.
Yeah.
I always say when you have dairy goats, it's like eating a potato chip. You can't stop with just one.
Yeah, well,
So,
they just
we
keep
have a
coming,
lot.
right?
Yes, we do.
Kate got started in farming when her daughter started showing goats for 4-H. As we've heard before, those goats led to more, and the hobby became a profession. She decided to start making cheese, and just like the goats, that cheese led to more cheese, and she didn't stop there. Soon, Kate found herself in the role of teaching others about her craft and formed the Art of Cheese, a school in which she teaches regular classes on creating all kinds of cheeses for all levels of chefs from all types of milk.
So we're in Boulder County and we have 5 acres here. We overlook the Rocky Mountain foothills right here, which is just a bonus. We have 5 babies. We have 10 does, and then we have 1 buck, who's the daddy to all the babies this year. And we have 4 wethers, 3 horses and a pony, and 20 goats. And a llama, of course, the llama for the goats. So the llama is a natural guard animal. Not always, but about 75% of llamas just have an innate tendency to bond with a herd or a flock, often it's sheep or goats, and then they get real protective of them. And then when the goats go out on pasture, he sort of patrols the pasture and kind of keeps an eye on them. And if anything comes around that he doesn't like the looks of, he'll actually round them up and bring them into the barn or put them in a corner and keep them out of harm's way while he goes to investigate. We're going to go down to my fancy milk house and milk a couple of the does who have babies, and I'm going to just be putting their milk into baby bottles and feeding the babies. They kind of know there's food in here, so that's a big motivator. So one of the things you find happens quickly when you raise dairy goats is you have a lot of goats, because in order to get that fresh milk every spring, you have to have new babies. And so it just happens that I'm a 4-H leader now for a goat-related club. And so I kind of have a built-in audience of people looking for dairy goats as 4-H projects. And that's really our main place that most of our goats go. But as cheesemaking is increasing in popularity in this area, so is the desire for your own dairy animal. These are her babies, so she's kind of checking them out first. Our original herd, the original doe's name was Skittles, and all her babies are named after candy. So the way we got into cheesemaking is that we started with a dairy goat named Skittles as a 4-H project, and after she had her first kids, we found ourselves with a lot of good quality goat's milk. So what we always do is squirt the first few squirts into a little tub. And this allows me to kind of look at it and make sure there's no clots or something in there that could indicate a problem like mastitis or something. It's funny because people will sometimes ask, well, I want to get a dairy goat, but I don't want to have to milk. And I'm like, well, then don't breed them. If they don't have babies, they don't get milk, just like us.
Yep. Works the same way.
Yes.
And you have how many milking right now? 5?
Right now I only have 3 that have kidded. We have 5 more to go.
Okay.
3 this month. So
it's not too much
no,
yet.
it's not too much. And then also we just do have a lot of agriculture in this area still. And so people with farms, once they get a taste of farm fresh milk, and especially with the goats. The goats are so personable and they're so friendly that you can't help but get kind of hooked on their milk just because it's so much fun to have them around. So, and then we just have here a little filter. You can see. And this will just filter out any, hair or dirt that got in there. Less important for the babies. They don't really care that much, but if we're going to use this for our own drinking, we don't want those things in it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and let her go back in with the big does for now, because I'm going to let them go out to the pasture.
After finishing up outside and gathering all the milk, we headed inside to listen in on one of Kate's cheese-making classes.
Welcome everybody. Thank you for coming out to our little farm-to-table cheese class. So we're going to start with a taste test because we just milked the goats, and some of you may have never had farm fresh goat's milk or farm fresh Jersey cow milk. And I'm going to start with, this is some pasteurized goat's milk. So this was milk from this morning's milking that I pasteurized and chilled, and we'll let you taste that first. So what do you think of that flavor? Good. Yeah, can you taste it's a little bit different, but maybe not really goaty?
I don't taste goatiness.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I notice more the mouthfeel is different than maybe what you're used to drinking milk, because it is going to be a little higher in butter fat than your typical whole milk at the grocery store, which, you know, they say whole milk is what, 4%, but it's really like 3.2% butter fat, yeah. Because they skim the milk off, this cream off, and then they add it back in, and they keep a lot of it for themselves, those milk producers. So the classes here we call our farm to table classes, and that's where people get to actually come and interact with the dairy goats, milk a goat, bottle feed the babies, you know, learn a little bit about goat keeping, and then we go into the kitchen and teach them. Now, do you have to have a dairy goat or a dairy cow to make cheese? No. You can make cheese with grocery store milk, partially because it's been pasteurized, also because it's been homogenized, especially if you're using cow milk. Cow milk, naturally the cream will rise to the top, but when you buy it at the grocery store, they've broken down those fat molecules really, really tiny so that they'll stay suspended in the milk. And we're going to make actually 2 cheeses today. We're going to learn how to make chev, which is your traditional goat cheese. We're also going to make ricotta. Ricotta is probably the fastest and easiest cheese. And once you learn to make ricotta, I promise, Jean, you will never buy it again. You're probably thinking cheese making is cooking, but it really isn't. Most cheese making is more chemistry and biology than it is actual cooking. And I was a psychology major. So I don't know why, but for some reason this next step is extremely satisfying to do. So now what we have is this beautiful curd swimming in whey, and that curd still has a lot of whey in it. Too much whey. Like if I pull this out, that doesn't look like chev yet, right? So I need to get more whey out of that curd. So what we're going to do is we've just got a little basket here lined with some butter muslin, which is just a very fine woven cheesecloth. And we're just going to scoop this curd right into our butter muslin. So everybody's going to scoop because it's really fun. So we're going to hang that for about 12 hours until it's the consistency that we want, basically. Awesome. So then we just turn this into a little bag. And then you want to just hang this somewhere and let it drip. Okay, so you're thinking, where do you hang this? Right, hang it in the shower. Yes, exactly. So really, if I left it in this basket, it would be fine. It wouldn't have to hang somewhere. But by hanging it, it's also allowing air to get all the way around it, and it'll dry a little more uniformly. That's our cow ricotta. Okay, but you can see how those are fairly big curds, right? So it's nothing like store-bought ricotta, is it?
You just eat it with a spoon?
Yeah, because, you know, we think of ricotta as being really bland and boring, right? You got to add stuff to it.
I've only eaten it in stuff before.
Exactly, but homemade ricotta is kind of can stand on its own 2 feet. Okay, so we're getting our goat's milk up to temperature. I like chocolate just as much as I like cheese, maybe even a little bit more. So all of my classes end in chocolate. So it would be remiss if I didn't have you have chocolate.
Oh my gosh.
We'll make some for everybody else here.
Oh, yum.
All right.
That's
so how
wonderful.
fun is that? And you could do other things. It wouldn't have to be chocolate, right? You could do lemon, or you could do almonds, or yeah. But you know, I think that was it.
This is fabulous. If you liked that episode, be sure to hit subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know next time we are back next week with another FarmHer story.